Michael Jordan is described as the best basketball player of all time. A lot of that is to do with his postseason success. In his 15-year NBA career, he only didn't make the playoffs 2 times, and those were his 2 seasons with the Wizards. Of those 13 times he was in the playoffs, he found himself in 3 different Game 7s. His first Game 7 was in the 1990 playoffs in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Detroit Pistons. Despite Jordan putting up 31 points, the Bulls lost that series. His second Game 7 was in the 1992 playoffs in the Eastern Conference semifinals against the New York Knicks. Jordan ended up putting 42 points to put down the New York Knicks in that series. Jordan's last Game 7 was in the 1998 playoffs in the Eastern Conference Finals against Indiana. Jordan scored 28 points to close out the series against the Indiana Pacers. In all the Game 7s that Michael Jordan played, these are the stats that he averaged. Now what if I told you that a NBA MVP that's only been to the playoffs 3 times has been to more Game 7s than Michael Jordan's 13 playoff years? You might be thinking who that player might be. Well, that player is Nikola Jokic. His first 2 years being in the playoffs, every series that he went to 7 games. In 2019, in the first round, he went against the Spurs and had 21 points in Game 7, and then in the following round, he went against Portland, and in their Game 7, he had 29 points. He obviously beat the Spurs, and then he did end up losing to Portland. Now in the bubble in 2020, these are more memorable. In the first series, he went against Utah and came back from a 3-1 lead, forced a Game 7, and dropped 30 points and won the series. The following series, the Denver Nuggets came back from 3-1 lead again against the Clippers, and they won Game 7 and he had 16 points. In 2 years, Jokic went to more Game 7s than Michael Jordan did. Jokic has a 3-1 record in Game 7s and Jordan has a 2-1 record in Game 7. This is what Jokic averages in Game 7s. Now by no means does this mean one of the players is better in Game 7 than the other player. It's just kind of crazy that in 2 years, every single playoff series that Jokic was in went to Game 7. You know, then there's that other superstar big man in the NBA. The one that finished second in MVP voting and led his team to the first seed in this year's playoffs. I'm talking about Joel Embiid. With as great as Joel Embiid is, he has never made an All-NBA first team. Do you know who has though? Take a wild guess on who you think it is. No, it's not Rudy Gobert, it's not Karl Anthony Towns, it's not Bam Adebayo. No, it's none of those players, it's DeAndre Jordan. Now, don't get me wrong, I know DeAndre Jordan was a beast on the Clippers. He was a lob threat, he was a defensive monster, but he has never done anything that Embiid has done. Well, I guess make the All-NBA first team. Completely off topic, I want to know if anybody knows who this WNBA player is. I'll give you guys about 5 more seconds to guess. Alright, time's up. If you didn't know, I don't blame you, because I didn't know who she was either. Her name is Breanna Stewart, and before we start roasting her too hard, she averages 20-9 in her career, so she's actually a very good WNBA player according to stats. She was the first overall pick in 2016, but that doesn't matter to us. She's a 6'4" point guard, and she has a 7'1" wingspan. Now that doesn't sound all too crazy until you realize that LeBron James has a 7-foot wingspan. Let me remind you, LeBron James is 6'9". He is one of the best players the league has ever seen, and he is a great defender. Speaking of LeBron James's defense, do we remember in 2012 to 2013 when Marc Gasol robbed LeBron James for his Defensive Player of the Year? And then Marc Gasol was then left off the All-Defensive First Team and was placed on All-Defensive Second Team. How does that even happen? Like, what are the voters thinking whenever they vote for stuff like that? How can you be the Defensive Player of the Year and then 5 other people got put on the first team and you didn't? Anyways, that's been the video. I hope you guys learned something new, and if there's any other crazy stats out there that I didn't mention, go ahead and comment them down below and maybe I'll make a part 2. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe, and that's been it. Peace.